Good morning. My name is Jill Thompson, and I use she, her pronouns. I have the honor of being your worship associate this morning. Please take a moment to put your mind, spirit, and cell phones in worship mode. We welcome everyone here and online to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke this morning. We are so glad you are all here today and hope you choose to stay for fellowship following the service. Let's take a second to turn, stand up if you wish, and connect with everyone watching at home. For those of you online who wish to share your joys and concerns during the Lifelines portion of the service, please put them in the chat in the next 15 minutes. We acknowledge that our church resides on the traditional lands of the Tutelo and Monacan nations and was later farmed and developed through slave labor. We recognize and respect the ongoing connection to this land by generations of Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. May our gratitude and fellowship here echo and honor that rich history. Please join me in reciting our words of welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come in love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness or overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here. And our covenant, we commit to supporting each other with respect and direct communication as we work in community to explore spiritual growth and to be a force for good in the world.
Good morning, everyone. This morning we're going to sing a meditation on breathing, and the words will be on the screen. So I'm going to just ask you can stay seated, and there are two parts, but the main part involves either breathing, which I think all of us can do successfully, or singing, breathe in, breathe out, over and over. Then the choir will help, and there are some other words which will be on the screen, and you can join in those if you want to, but the main parts are the breathing and the mantra. You guys stand. You guys can stay seated, and they're going to stand. Sit there and wait. Yeah. This is where you breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now we're going to sing. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Again. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe, breathe in. I'll breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe in, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Jen Raffensperger. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am honored to serve as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke. I'm glad to see you all here this morning. Carrie had us can remain seated because today we're talking a bit about rest and what it can do for us. So our opening words this morning are a poem called Nocturne 2 by W.S. Merwin. August arrives in the dark. We are not even asleep, and it is here with a gust of rain rustling before it. How can it be so late all at once? Somewhere the Perseids are falling toward us already at a speed that would burn us alive if we could believe it. But in the stillness after the rain ends, nothing is to be heard but the drops falling one at a time from the tips of the leaves into the night, and I lie in the dark, listening to what I remember, while the night flies on with us into itself. Now I'll invite Jill. I wonder if anybody listened. Nope. Are there matches up there? Okay, great. Cool. I'm inviting Jill to light our chalice, which we join with Unitarian Universalist churches, congregations, and communities around the country and the world as our part of our Sunday morning ritual to light the flame that is the symbol of our faith tradition. Matches are hard. That serves as a light within our hearts and as a beacon for all. Thank you. Light we now give.
Hello, my name is Jessie, and I am the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here at UU Church of Roanoke, and I want to invite up anyone who wants to see my artifacts. It's an Artifact Sunday. So come on up. If you are young at heart, come on and join me. You might want to scoot a little closer if you're comfortable so you can see what I have. Why don't you have a seat? Yeah, I'm gonna hold up everything and show it. This morning, I have artifacts. Does anybody know what an artifact is? Yeah, it's something that's left or something that's used. So I use all of these artifacts. And these are my artifacts of rest. So when I need a break, these are the things that I use. The first thing that I have for you is my headphones and my nose flute. Nose flute. It's a flute that you play with your nose. Because sometimes when I'm resting, I listen to music or I make music. Do you want to see me use the nose flute? Okay. I'm going to move it away from the microphone just a little bit. It's hard to play, but you blow with your nose and move your mouth to make the different tones. Sometimes I make music. I also have some glitter. Yeah, glitter. And don't worry, I'm not opening it in the sanctuary. Well, I have glitter, and maybe we can use this glitter upstairs. Sometimes when I want to rest, I pamper myself, and sometimes I take a bath, a nice hot bath with my little rubber ducky. And you have 10 duckies? That's a lot. And sometimes I play with makeup. Now, I don't wear makeup every day, but if I want to get creative, sometimes I make myself look like a cat. Sometimes I make myself look like a monster. I love to play with makeup. And who doesn't love a little glitter? I love a little glitter. I have my little black cat who I snuggle with. Now, I have a real black cat at home, but this is a pretend black cat because just like I like to find rest at home, my cat does not find rest here. So I leave him at home. Will you hold this for me? Thank you. I have a teacup with some tea in it and a snack. Because sometimes when I feel like I need rest, I realize that I also need a snack. And sometimes I just want a little bit of tea. And this cup was given to me by my exchange family in Norway. Do not ask me how it has survived like over 30 years. I don't know. I can't tell you. One thing that I really love when I'm resting is good smells. So I have this smelly good thing that we're going to take upstairs and pass around and smell. And don't worry, I will bring it downstairs. Here, why don't you tell me what it smells like? It smells like mint and a little bit like pine trees, right? Yeah. Well, I think this is a winner. So we're going to hold that smell. We're going to take it upstairs, but I'll bring it down for coffee hour. I also have some incense that my mom gave me. So this rest also reminds me of being wrapped up in my mom's arms, because this is the incense that she has burned in my house my whole life. What? Yes. What else? Ooh, does anybody like to make things when they're resting? You do? I like to take these little plastic things. That one's not finished. This one is finished. Well, I think what we do is we have to clean up our first stuff and then make something new, right? It's the cleaning part that maybe is important. I sometimes play games. You can hold it. You can even take it upstairs with you if you want to. Okay, go for it. She would love to. It was the response to that. I have playing cards. Sometimes I play solitaire, just playing a game with myself. Sometimes I find a friend to play a game with, because we can rest with each other, can't we? We can help each other find rest. And my last two things I have are, this is a tiny blanket that was made for me by a friend. But it reminds me of my blanket at home, because sometimes when I take a rest, what do I take? I need my blankie, and I get under my blankie, and I take a nap. Yes. Sometimes we just take a nap when we rest. And the last thing I have is one of my favorite books. It is The Flower Fairies of the Spring. And can someone tell me what year I got this book? Can you see that? It's get really close. 1990. Yeah. I've collected Flower Fairy books since I was a little kid. And I sometimes just read the same book over and over again when I'm resting. I did know your name is Faye. And I read books over and over again, because it's something that rests my brain. Yeah, we have to rest our brains. We have to rest our bodies. We take naps. We drink tea. We surround ourselves with good things when we rest. Now, we're going to go upstairs, and we're going to make a rest plan, because we are right now in a very chaotic time of year. That means everything's going a little wild. People are starting school. We get stuck behind buses if we're drivers. We have to wait for all the cars out in front of the church before we can pull into the church when it's a school day. So things can be a little wild at this time of year, but we're going to go upstairs and we're going to talk about ways and discover ways that we can rest. Are you ready? Yeah. Will you bring that cat? Awesome. Let's go.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from Rest is Resistance, a Manifesto by Tricia Hersey. When you're exhausted, you lack clarity and the ability to see deeply. Your intuition and imagination are stifled by a culture of overworking and disconnection. You must be open to go deep into the cracks to examine and to understand. It may take years to fully crack open, and it will be a lifetime of practice, care, and creativity. It's your life, body, and community. Therefore, it is yours to hold, protect, love, and care for. Exhaustion will not save us and will only lead us further into the clutches of grind culture. Rest is shape-shifting and wants to hold our hands as we usher in a well-rested world. It's more than naps, and it's a full-on pushback and political statement against the systems that want to see us constantly moving, doing, and going in a frenzy. When we tap into the power of our bodies, we understand that our bodies are a miracle, a legacy, and a place of extreme power, the foundation for love and reclamation. I know there are many who have misunderstood the totality of our message of rest. I am learning by observing the patterns that have emerged on our social media accounts over the years. Many have purposely ignored the social justice and political thread that runs through. It can be easier to believe resting is simply about retiring to your bed when you're tired, instead of beginning the messy process of deconstructing your own beliefs and behaviors that are aligned with white supremacy and capitalism. You must be committed to studying how training under the abusive teachings of dominant culture has you bound and limited. This is healing work. This is justice work. When we are aligned against the ideas of the oppressive culture, we understand we didn't arrive on earth to be a tool for the capitalist system. It is not our divine purpose. You were not just born to center your entire existence on work and labor. You were born to heal, to grow, to be of service to yourself and community, to practice, to experiment, to create, to have space, to dream, and to connect.
Thank you, Jill. I need assistance with the beginning of this sermon. I need pronunciation, proper pronunciation for a local area to watch pretty sunrises. It is called C-A-H-A-S Mountain Overlook. Cajas or Cajas? Cajas? Okay. I was like, oh, I need to outsource how to pronounce this thing before I go Cajas. Cajas sounds prettier anyway. Thank you, Leslie, for confirming. So, not long ago, a local friend of mine posted on social media about going with one of her kids to watch the sunrise at Cajas Mountain Overlook, not far south of town, off the Blue Ridge Parkway. Now, since moving here, I've received lots of hints, tips, and suggestions for great places to go to enjoy the beauty that surrounds us here in Roanoke. But I hadn't heard of this place. Oh, the sunrise over the mountains, I thought to myself. I'd sure like to see that. By nature, I am a planner ahead and organizer of time. I thought perhaps I should try to go see the sunrise while I was on my vacation and study leave during July. But of course, the nature of viewing the sunrise means one must wake up before it happens. And so I punted this plan to August. And last week, I decided it was time. It is a 35-minute drive from my home to Cajas Mountain Overlook. I looked at my schedule and decided Tuesday was the day. I needed to get up early anyway to be at work with my personal trainer, which meant another 35-minute drive back from watching the sunrise to be there by 7:30 in the morning. Sunrise time was listed at 6:41 a.m. I did the math. I could just make it if I were willing to allot approximately 10 minutes or less to sunrise appreciation. And of course, I'd have to take pictures of the sunrise while I was there because honestly, what's the point of driving more than 1 hour round trip to experience the wonder and beauty of nature if you cannot show off pictures to your friends and various internet acquaintances? Perhaps you see where I am going. Perhaps you even remember that Tuesday started out a little bit cloudy. Sure enough, when my alarm went off on Tuesday, it was still full dark, When I began my drive, I could see the sky was lightening a bit, and it was overcast, but I saw a few promising breaks in the clouds. I had hopes there would still be something to see. Sometimes a partially occluded sunrise is even more beautiful than an unobstructed one. However, as I approached the turnoff for the parkway, it was becoming very clear that what I was in fact doing was driving up into the cloud cover. Sure enough, I pulled into the overlook parking lot to see cloud. Fog, I guess we would technically call it since it was touching the ground. I turned off my car and got out. I walked to the overlook sign, and for approximately 2 minutes, I stood still, facing the direction where I knew the sun to be rising, and listening to the movement of the cloud, a gentle sound coming from the trees. Then I glanced at my watch. Oh no, I needed to get back on the road to get to the next thing on time. Sorry, wonders of nature, I got a jet. But in the stillness after the rain ends, nothing is to be heard but the drops falling one at a time from the tips of the leaves into the night. And I lie in the dark listening to what I remember while the night flies on with us into itself. What do I remember? I remember the sun rises every day, and it is always beautiful, whether I can see it or not. What do I remember? I remember that I have been granted the gifts of many sunrises, even sunrises over the mountains in my lifetime. What do I remember? I remember that beauty is not a thing to be scheduled for a specific time, but something to be welcomed when it is found, like the joy and the gift that it always is. What do you remember? How do you listen? I tell that story for several reasons, but one of them is to point out that I'm just as much subject to grind culture as all of us are. What do you remember about the first time you felt like busyness, not business, but busyness, was a virtue? What do you remember about the last time you had a conversation with someone about how busy you each were, and it almost started feeling like it was a competition? A competition to see who earned what? Prizes, points, a gold star for the overwhelming amount of stuff they had to do, particularly in light of the amount of time they had to do it in? August arrived in the dark, as each month does, as each day does. The calendar flips in darkness, which is the time most humans and other diurnal creatures are resting their bodies, minds, and spirits in sleep. We, as a people, a society, a culture, are exhausted. As costs have risen and wages have not kept pace, more and more hours of work are required on average to afford to live than ever before. The amount of hours required on average to support oneself, to keep oneself fed, housed, clothed, has risen precipitously over the last half century. What do we remember? Do we remember what it was like to be a child on the first day of summer vacation? Some of us are closer to those memories than others. But do you remember what that first day felt like? How expansive the time in front of you seemed. And then each year, August or September would arrive a little faster than the summer before. Right? What do we remember? Americans as a whole are granted less vacation time by their employers than in other nations. And no matter how much vacation time a specific employer may provide, Americans are also at the bottom of the ranked lists of how many days people actually take off. And of course, actually, I didn't know this. I say of course. I learned this while I was researching. The Fair Labor Standards Act does not provide for vacation with pay. It is not a requirement. And people who work part-time jobs or multiple part-time jobs may be able to take time off of work, but it's not compensated, and so each day taken off from work means a loss in income. We as a people, as a society, as a culture, are in a hurry. We're scheduling our sunrises. We are pressed for time. The expectations of accomplishment rest heavy on our shoulders. Our busyness is presented as a virtue, and so any shirking of that busyness, if it's not exactly, any shirking of the busyness, leaving any room in our lives for true and profound rest, may not exactly be perceived as a vice, but it can be judged and met with scorn. You can lose that busyness competition. When we were children facing the impossible freedom of summer break, our parents and caregivers were, in most instances, working. That impossible freedom might actually have been a carefully crafted illusion, our caregivers wanting to preserve the sense of expansive time for us, knowing how quickly we may begin our life of work. I got my first job when I was, I don't honestly remember, like 11 or 12, delivering the Penny Saver sales circular. I went and hung it on people's doors. I also answered phones at my church's rectory on Sunday afternoons. My first real job, meaning the one where I got a paycheck and had taxes taken out of it, was as an assistant counselor at a Girl Scout summer day camp in the summer before my junior year in high school. My first full-time job came when I was 19 going on 20. All told, this means my life as a working person has been more than 40 years of my life thus far. More than 3/4 of the years I have been alive, I have been working. And I, as a middle-class white child of college-educated parents, was still afforded much more opportunity for rest and leisure than so many of my compatriots and counterparts. My family was able to take summer vacations, especially as I got a little older and my father's career got a little more established and after my mother went back to work outside of the home. The wages earned by my labor in childhood went towards my own savings and buying things that I wanted or needed for myself. I didn't have to work to help support the overall needs of my family. What do you remember? Exhaustion will not save us and will only lead us further into the clutches of grind culture. Rest is shape-shifting and wants to hold our hands as we usher in a well-rested world. It's about more than naps and is a full-on pushback and political statement against the systems that want to see us constantly moving, doing, and going in a frenzy. When we tap into the power of our bodies, we understand that our bodies are a miracle, a legacy, and a place of extreme power, the foundation for love and reclamation. In Rest is Resistance, a manifesto, Tricia Hersey outlines what she has dubbed her nap ministry, or her ministry of rest, and how it aligns with her own womanist ethics and understanding of ourselves as beings of worth and dignity, a place where the divine resides. I became aware of her work on the internet in 2015 when she began sharing the nap installations that were the start of this ministry of rest. In 2013, Hersey was an exhausted, overworked seminary student and mother. Her exhaustion brought to mind for her memories of her beloved grandmother, who would take time daily to sit still and rest. For at least 30 minutes per day, her grandmother would sit down on the couch and close her eyes. She wasn't always asleep, but it was always time for her to take a state of rest, of meditation, and of not answering the needs of others. And Hersey's public rest installations were exactly that. She found a clean and comfortable space available for rent or barter and supplied soft mats, clean blankets and pillows, and soft lighting. People were invited, anyone, really. They were open to the public. The first public nap gathering drew about 40 strangers in the middle of the day in the middle of Atlanta. They came in, they listened to Hersey speak softly for just a short time, and then they were invited to make themselves comfortable. Soft music was put on, and everyone rested for about an hour. That's all. After those who rested awakened or arose, they didn't all sleep. Hersey was told this again and again, we need this. We need more of this. And she has turned this ministry of rest into her life's work. It can be easier to believe resting is simply about retiring to your bed when you're tired, instead of beginning the messy process of deconstructing your own beliefs and behaviors that are aligned with white supremacy and capitalism. You must be committed to studying how training under the abusive teachings of dominant culture has you bound and limited. This is healing work. This is justice work. When we are aligned against the ideas of the oppressive culture, we understand we didn't arrive on earth to be a tool for a capitalist system. It is not our divine purpose. You were not just born to center your entire existence on work and labor. You were born to heal, to grow, to be of service to yourself and community, to practice, to experiment, to create, to have space, to dream, and to connect. Hersey's message of the liberating power of rest is for everyone, no matter their color, class, or creed, or lack thereof. But it is grounded in the inherited wisdom of Black women. It is chattel slavery that is the root of our culture of consumption, of disregard, of using up living people to serve the ends of industry, of capitalism, of turning people into parts on the machine of production. Our nation, as we know, was built on this unpaid, unjust labor. Our culture, as we can trace, has for far too long enshrined the notion of working to death. The culture of white supremacy steals from all of us, if not equally. It has taught generations of people that their worth is based entirely on their labor. It has trained us to accept that working 3 jobs to barely make ends meet is somehow a means to an end that is an American dream. In truth, it is an American nightmare. And this culture of consumption, of using people up, is no longer just an American problem. It is a world problem. It is a human problem. And the solution, a vital part of the solution, is rest. What do you remember about rest? What do you remember about the last time you purposefully just stayed still? What can the passage of time and darkness teach us about our birthright? The humans who sleep the most are the very, very young and the very, very old. At last week's question box service, if you weren't here, I took questions in general from the audience, y'all. I took questions from y'all. And at last week, at the question box service, I got so many amazing questions that I didn't get a chance to answer. I did look at all of them this week. a good handful of them were variations on what happens when we die. And I cannot presume to have the answer, nor can I presume to have the answer to the bookend of that question, which is something we sang last week. Where do we come from? We arise from mystery and we return to mystery. But unlike the grind culture phrase, I'll sleep when I'm dead, we should return to the mystery of sleep and of rest often. It is radical to take 5 minutes out of your day. Start with 5. Tricia Hersey's grandmother did 30. 5 minutes out of your day to just shut your eyes. It's radical to leave your devices behind for hours at a time, to slow yourself to the pace of memory, to the time of the single raindrops slipping off leaves, to remind yourself that dreams and rest are bountiful sources of joy, creativity, new ideas, and fulfillment. It is radical to let each summer day call you back to a childhood where space and time felt expansive and easily available to you. It is radical to imagine a world where everyone has that easy access to rest and expansiveness of spirit. It is in those radical times of rest that we are called to dream the world free of these systems of oppression. It is in a shared state of rest that we can begin to build that world here on earth. So may it be.
Oh no. Oh no. The chalice went out.
Thank you, Jill. At this time, we have arrived at that part in our service each week where we invite you into generosity. The work and the ongoing mission of this church are best supported by your time, your talent, and your treasure. The ushers will now gratefully accept the offering. To be simple, 'tis a gift. To be free, 'tis a gift. To come now. Your love and delight, and true simplicity is the unity, and we will now be your flame. Turn, light our light till by turning we come round right. Thank you.
Committee. Can y'all hear me? Okay. From the Caring Committee, one of our many tasks is to share the joys and concerns of this congregation. If you have a joy or a concern you want to share, you please let somebody from the Caring Committee know, the church office, or you can inform them, or on Sunday mornings and during the week, we have our Lifelines book. You can write a joy or concern into that. So let us go into our today in a day of reverence. First of all, I won't have a concern. Well, in many ways it's a concern and it's also a joy. I don't know many of y'all remember Dick Hawkins, longtime member of our church. He helped and led the Caring Committee many years. He passed away on 19th. His obituary is in today's paper. There will be a memorial service held at a later date. He was the chair, like I said, of the Caring Committee for many years, and he's survived by his wife and 3 sons. Also, Leslie, help me if I say it wrong, Santa Paul, is delighted with her new knee and is hugely grateful to Adele Blankenbaker for her guest room and no stairs while she was recuperating. Sounds like a winner to me. And lastly, a great joy. Just received, Celeste Lee has just texted. Her granddaughter, Pearl Cooper, was born this morning, 6.2 pounds. Okay. If you have a secret joy or concern in your heart, please come forward and light a candle. We'll use both sides of the altar. Thank you. Jane, you can go on this side, closer to your seat. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. So I was just handed a additional concern thing we need to light a candle for this morning. I'll make sure the caring committee has it so it can go into the email. We're lighting this candle in memory of Cassie Rhea, a black trans woman shot in Lynchburg, Virginia, on August 18th, 2025, at the age of 31. We hold Cassie's memory sacred and send our joy, comfort, our comfort and support to all those who loved her. It's hard to believe I didn't think of this one last week when I was sifting through things to pray for, being that it's adjacent to my hometown, which is this week I am lighting a candle for the people of Washington, D.C. I grew up in the Maryland suburbs of D.C. My father was a career civil servant. Fascist takeover of the streets of D.C. cannot be denied. D.C., if you have been there ever, you know is not a city without problems. Every large city is, but is not what it is being portrayed as. The people in D.C. are brilliant and bold, and they are resisting, but our thoughts are with them. And I'll light this final candle as I do each week for all of those joining us online, knowing that your prayers and may be not sent to us, and you may not be here to light a candle yourself, but we feel your presence as a part of our community. And now, if you will join me for a moment of prayer and reflection, you can make yourself comfortable in your seat, whatever that means for you, maybe feet both flat on the floor. Perhaps you will feel comfortable closing your eyes or softening your gaze. Spirit of life, we asked last week, we ask again and again in our hearts how we center ourselves in love in a world that seems to be in the hands and powers of people with hate in their hearts. We remind ourselves that this is more than a bad versus good story, that every human life resides in a complexity of joys, sorrows, bad impulses, good ideas, chances to make things better for another person, and chances to make things worse. Every day that we choose to try to make things better, or if we're not sure we have the energy for that, to at least step back and try to do the minimal harm, we are grateful for every one of those days. Reside in the spirit and connection of that which is greater than ourselves, however you envision that to be. Connect with the deepest truth you know, that we are loved, that we are loving, that love and healing is what our bodies, our minds, and our spirits were born to. So may it be.
And now, as we draw close to the end of our time together in worship this week, we turn our attention from within our own community and their joys and concerns, and we prepare to engage with the world in the week ahead. We'll begin with a few announcements. Last week, we mistakenly announced that the Green Team's monthly climate justice rally would take place today after the service. That's not true. That rally will take place next Sunday, August 31st. Today, after the service, please plan to join in a special celebration in our fellowship hall, lovingly crafted to honor the nonagenarians in our congregation. We have a special cake to honor these beloved elders. Later today at 3 p.m., you're invited to come back for our monthly open mic event, Roanoke Speaks. Sign up to share your talents with our community for up to 5 minutes. And finally, I'd like to invite Bonnie Nelson up to give you all a special announcement about the resumption of our weekly study group, Living the Questions.
Good morning. I'm Bonnie Nelson. My pronouns are she, her. I'm speaking as a member of the book discussion group, Living the Questions. We're kind of wild and woolly. Actually, we're a little bit less wild and woolly since Bert and Claire stopped arguing. But but I'd like to tell you about our new book. Our next book is Cherished Belonging, The Healing Power of Love in Divided Times by Gregory Boyle. Oh, before I continue, I forgot to tell you one more thing about Living the Questions. We laugh a lot and we learn a lot. And this book by Gregory Boyle is his second one we've read. The first one was Tattoos on the Heart. At a time when society is more fractured than ever before, beloved Jesuit priest Gregory Boyle invites us to see the world through a new lens of connection and build the loving community that we long to live in. Over the past 30 years, Gregory Boyle has developed the largest gang intervention program in the world. The program runs on 2 unanswering principles. We are all unshakably good, no exceptions. And we belong to each other, no exceptions. A former gang member puts it plainly, quote, "Here love is our lens. It is how we see things," end quote. Now, that's I have one brief review that begins, "This is a moving book by a magnificent man. Reading this man, listening to him is powerful. He is not a fool who does not see things as they are. In fact, he seems to be a sage who sees things just as they are, no matter how they may appear on the surface. He is unwittingly in the midst of the world without getting weighed down by it." I like that phrase, because when you listen to him speak, you feel that. That's the last review, but I'm going to give you the title of 3 more reviews. "You will never be the same after reading this book." And surely that's how I felt after reading his Tattoos on the Heart. The next review. "Father Gregory Boyle has made God bigger than I imagined." And last, "It's the best book I have ever read. Not just a book, but a call to action." You're welcome to join us next Sunday at 9:30 in the Olin Room. And if you would...
2 Sundays from now, Bonnie. September 7th,
Oh,
right? That's
oh,
2
I'm
Sundays.
always leaving a week out when it gets this time of the year. I'm doing what you're doing about things coming sooner. I'm a good example of the sermon. If you would like to see the book, I've left it on Jesse's table here. It's the blue book. You're welcome to look through it. The first time we gather, we're going to spend a lot of time listening to Krista Tippett interview him. So if you haven't bought your book and you want to join us, that'll give you time to get it. Hope to see you soon.
Want this yet? There you go. There you go. Okay, got it. Thank you, Bonnie. Bonnie asked if she could give that announcement, and she sent it to me, and I said, yeah, that looks fine. Then she added in some stuff, taking on Claire when Claire's not here. It's fine. Thank you, Bonnie. I hope everyone feels warmly invited into the study group. 9:30 a.m. most Sundays between Labor Day and Memorial Day, right? And at this point, I will ask Jill to extinguish, who rescued our chalice in the middle of the service, to extinguish it for real this time, as we join with Unitarian Universalist churches, communities, and congregations around the nation and the world in understanding that even though the flame of our chalice here in the sanctuary may not burn, the light of our faith lives in our hearts.
Our closing song is number 352, Find a Stillness. I think the words are on the screen. I think you don't have hymnals, but you can remain seated. And this is a very meditative piece that I love. I find it very calming. The choir will stand now.
Find the stillness within your hearts this week, even especially when the world wants you not to be still. So may it be. Go in peace. I'm going to do this right now.